Hi there, my name's Dave Schwartz, the author of Roll the Bones, The History of Gambling. Hope you can see that in that shot. Casino Edition, which is the latest edition out. And I've been doing a chapter-by-chapter summary, and I'm now up to Chapter 2. At the end of Chapter 1, you might remember the Ridotto, which was the legal casino in Venice, closed. And Chapter 2 picks up the story of gambling in Europe, where it'll go after that. And it turns out that a lot of it went to health resorts called spas. Now, spas were pretty much places with a hot springs where entrepreneurs would build hotels and people would come. Now, the people who came to these health resorts had two things that really made them endeared to gambling operators. They had a lot of money, relatively speaking, and they also had a lot of time with very little to do. So you had gambling operations starting at these spa resorts pretty early on. One of the earliest ones that was successful was the casino in the town of Spa, which was in Belgium. The building opened in 1765, although there had been gambling going on for years before, and was for a while really the top spot in Europe for people to vacation and gamble. In the early 19th century, though, it started to decline due to changing tastes and also a failure to invest in infrastructure. Many of these gambling resorts in spas were located on the Rhine River and other rivers in what is now Germany. And one of the most famous is Baden-Baden, which was in the Ouse River. Gambling started there in 1748, and the Promenade House, which was their main gambling building, opened up in 1765, the same year as Spa's main building. But while Spa declined in the early 19th century, Baden-Baden really grew and became the most fashionable place. Now, there are several other of these resorts that I talk about in the second chapter of Roll the Bones, but one of the most interesting is Bad Homburg, which was founded by the Blanc brothers, Francois and Louis, who were really the most successful gambling entrepreneurs of the 19th century. And they've got a fascinating story that I tell in this chapter, but I'm going to ask you to read the book to find out the whole story behind that. Their casinos and other casinos in the spas were very successful, but as the Prussian government got stronger in the second half of the 19th century, they wanted to crack down on gambling. And in 1868, the government announced that in 1873, all gambling would be outlawed at the spas. So let's fast forward 5 years now. It is 5 minutes to 11 on the night of December 31st, 1873. We're in Bad Homburg's casino, and the croupier has just announced the results of the final spin, 20 black, and that is the last legal gambling in what is now Germany for decades. Now, this doesn't mean that gambling in Europe stopped. On the contrary, it really blossomed in the place that I spend a lot of Chapter 3 talking about, which is probably the most famous European gambling resort, Monte Carlo. But that, my friends, is the story for another chapter and another summary. Thank you.